What we've got this. This is Deanne's surprise 50th birthday party, which is kind of a landmark year, I think, for deciding that you are a grandparent for certain.
I'm not deciding. I am. I don't have a choice.
Okay. So here we go.
Not the same thing. Just try to.
It's kind of new, this podcast thing for us. So we made a mistake. We had the wrong plug in the wrong thing, so it wasn't actually recording. Thanks for sharing that. And I'm going to tell everybody, that it's your 50th birthday that we're celebrating here to launch
I have no shame.
the podcast of Be-In Grandparents. And that's what we talked about because we're going to repeat a couple things that, where you said that you listen to podcasts because of what?
I listen to podcasts. Why?
What do you listen to?
Oh, what do I listen to? Unsolved murders.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about earlier, that my two fears of that is that you're going to start writing some guy.
I'm going to start writing some guy, and then that guy's going to get out of prison and kill you.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of. But as being grandparents, because for us, we are, we had two new additions to our grandchildren this year, and we've got two others on top of that.
We have 4.
Yeah, and so it's been a kind of a great experience, but also learning, because grandparenting has changed.
It's evolved over the years.
Yeah, and so we hoped with this program we could talk about some of the generations that have passed and what we had as grandparents and what we want to be as grandparents, and sharing stories from other people, things that we can find, things that we can learn to try to build on, maybe being a better grandparent. And hopefully, some of our children will share some of the ideas of what they want from us as a grandparent as well.
Yeah.
So we got a room full of people. We're going to try to get them to share some of the thoughts with us. So first up is Jody. Not quickly.
I'm just
we got
kidding.
Time.
Hello again, Jody.
Hello.
This is Jody. Jody,
we recorded her this beautiful story, and then and Deanne will be quick to tell you that I messed up.
No, I'm not going to tell you. You already told everyone. This is Jody. I used to work with Jody at Jinx Public Schools.
So Jody, you were close to your great grandpa.
Yes. And he is one that definitely taught me a lot about, I guess, being strong, perseverance, and not feeling bad for yourself when things were going wrong.
Right.
So my two things I remember most about him was, if you were pouting, he stuck out that bottom lip. He'd be telling you tuck that lip in because the bird's going to come by and take a big poop on it. And so you'd pull that lip in quick.
My mom used to tell us as kids not to look at a dog or cat pooping because you'd get a sty in your eye.
Oh, there you go.
Gross.
There you go.
Yum.
And the other thing that he used to tell us when we were feeling bad about ourselves was go open the front blind and look out the window and, look for 5 minutes, and chances are you're going to see somebody that's got it worse off than you do.
Right.
Now, do you still kind of live by that?
I do.
Yeah.
It's a good philosophy.
I actually was coming up 71st here a few months ago, and I saw a guy, no legs, in a wheelchair over by one of the homes off of here, headed down the hill, wheeling his chair, and I thought about my grandpa. I saw him, and I thought, that's what Grandpa's talking about. That's what, and I've had a rough couple of years, and it was just kind of a reminder from me, from Grandpa, that, you know what, even when you got it bad, you could have it worse. That guy's out there. He's in cold weather.
Right.
Or the heat, depending on what time of year it is. He's out there. He's wheeling himself down, and he's getting it done.
Yes.
Well, and that's the thing, too. Like, you think about your great-grandfather's generation. Is he still with us?
No.
How old would he have been?
Oh, my goodness. Okay. I can kind of gauge. I'm going to be 48 this year. So my mom, 20 years older than me. My grandma, who's still alive, 20 years older than me. So that would have put him, my grandmother, another 20 years on that. So what is that?
I don't do math.
48 38 plus 20, 68, 88, 108.
Oh, wow.
Or 110. So they'd be older.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
you know, like I said, he succumbed to, you know, Alzheimer's. And but my grandmother, you know, like I said, she's pushing 90.
Yeah. That's great.
I mean, my other great grandfather, he lived to 94.
Wow.
You know, so I mean,
That's
I was
awesome.
lucky enough to be blessed with all my great grandparents alive until I was 19.
Nice.
Yeah, my great grandpa lived to be 103 on my dad's side.
Wow.
And but you know, because we were said just a second ago when you were talking about him looking out and saying somebody else. Well, that's because they've lived a lot. They've seen a lot.
Yeah.
They've seen so much
Yeah.
more than we have,
Yeah.
and it was awesome for you to be able to accept, capture, and be able to, you know, continue to have that and live with that, and knowing that there's always somebody else. And if you looked at probably their lives compared to our lives as grandparents, or just in, you know, they probably, because my dad tells a story of my grandfather when he was first starting his construction business on the weekends would go out and pick cotton just to make extra money because they had 8 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, and then of course my dad would also tell the stories of the kids going out and working jobs and giving the money to the family, not
Yeah.
getting it to buy a Nintendo or a PlayStation or any of those kinds of things. So it's definitely different.
Yeah,
Definitely different. And I said, and I try to teach my kids that, and
Yeah.
we'll see how that works out. Like I said, my oldest child that's about to make me a grandparent. I don't know if she's heard all the lessons. we're waiting. It remains to be seen. To be continued.
To be continued.
So when's the baby due?
Sometime early March, sometime around my birthday.
Yeah.
Like I said, I have been trying to get on board and be supportive because it's not the best choice that they got into to do this. But I've also had to put down my foot and say, I will be there to help you when you work or you're going to college, but I will not babysit when you're going to go to party.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, you know, yes.
And again, I said that's where I'm being the grandparent, and I'm showing. So
Yeah.
and you know, because I don't know, I can't tell you that as a father, do I think that every time we had a child, it was the right time.
Right.
There's never the
Right.
It's never the perfect time for that. So
Unless
you just
know,
Go ahead.
unless you're like part of royalty and you get paid just to kind of hang out anyway, you know. I say that because Deanne loves all
I
that
like those.
English royalty stuff.
I do too.
Whatever.
I know too much.
Well, thanks for sharing, Jody.
Thanks, Jody.
Being a guest. Where'd
Thank
Lindsay
you.
go?
Next.
Where'd Lindsay go?
Lindsay, you're up.
We were in the middle of talking before I realized that one of the other
back.
guests here, who's from the younger crowd, you know, we had to pull her away from those folks.
I'm 29, but trust me, I've got a few grays I've been shaving off the side of my head for the past year.
It looks good, by the way. It looks
Thank
good.
you.
I know.
I
like
do, yes. I put it in myself now because I don't let Mother Nature tell me when I'm getting gray hair. I tell her. So it's
And
fabricated.
You tell us about your grandparents.
Well, actually, I was just talking about Pawpaw again, who had passed away back in 2001. The fact that he used to work for Quick Trip when they first started coming up,
Oh, wow.
little gas station here, and then he left and went to Get and Go. Well, now that I'm in the beverage industry, I actually started working with a couple of guys at this convenience store chain, and it turns out my papa hired them in the 80s at Get and Go,
wow.
and now they're working with me trying
Oh
to
my
work out
gosh.
contracts.
Wow.
So they can't get rid of the Parker lineage.
That's right.
What do they say about your papa?
Oh, they said that he was a great guy and that he was just honest and nice and open, and he was just always gave him the opportunity and the benefit of the doubt. I just wish they had done the same for me before I lost that contract. But that's okay. I made up for it. But I was actually also talking about my grandmother, my mamaw, Helen. She recently just had a fall last Saturday. You know, she's 90. She'll be 91 if she makes it to April, as she'll tell you. And she had fallen down the stairs in the garage last Saturday on our coldest day and fell about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I found her about 7:30.
Oh, wow.
We got the fire department over there and we helped her up. We got her in bed and she's a registered nurse from way back when. She's been through the Great Depression. You can't make the lady go to the hospital and you can't make her admit that she's hurt.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you can bet that I was there to help her, and we talked about just how scary the whole experience was, and then flashing back to whenever I was a kid and she was going through colon cancer and breast cancer and radiation, and when I was 6, she still made sure I got to school. She always made sure I had an ice cream cone after dinner. And she put on whatever show I wanted to watch. Like, I owe that lady everything. And to see that the roles are now reversed. She's no longer taking care of me. I am now taking care of her. And it's an honor to do that because she's done so much for me.
Yeah, see, and I think that's another thing from that generation. You were talking about the medical stuff, because my grandmother, she was stricken with some kind of a liver disease later in life. And she didn't want to go to the doctor, get all the proper treatment, just because at the time, that disease, people, if something was wrong with your liver, you were an alcoholic or drank too much or something. And she just didn't want anyone to ever think that of her because she didn't, And so it's just like, I'm not a great, like, I'm going to go to the doctor kind of
No,
guy.
he's not. No, he's not.
But
he's very stubborn.
Knowing that about your grandma, and you have a child, how old is she?
She's 8.
She's 8. When you were going through your pregnancy, did you have any thoughts of how you wanted her grandparents to be?
Yes, I wanted them not to call her Maddie, but now we all just call her Maddie. That was my first rule. And it's Madeline. But I mean, I wanted them to give her the life that I wanted all of us to give my daughter the life that I didn't have, you know, and you always want to just kind of one up your childhood with your own kids. And they've done an exceptional job at doing that, because when I say no, they say yes. So that's something that will never change throughout any generation. Grandparents will always say yes and leave them alone. They're fine is like the number one line that grandparents say. And no one can deny that.
So did you go round and round with, is this your parents or her?
Yes, well, we're not going to get into the ex's parents because that's a whole different realm.
Yeah. That's a whole nother show.
Another
day.
I'll create my own podcast for that shenanigans. But for mine, I really don't, except it's the only rules I have is to let her express herself. So they definitely do. They do a lot of arts and crafts with her. And, to tell me when she gets into a little bit of trouble, don't try to sugarcoat it. We need to know. We need to learn from it. But, there are a couple of things where my mom's kind of just brought it into perspective, the things that I should just let go, the little things, and not be such a helicopter mom. Because my mom wasn't, and I feel like I turned out fine.
Yeah.
She wasn't always hovering over me, so I've learned to be a little bit more lax just because she was more lax.
Do you, would you say that, now I lost my train of thought on my question. I know it was that, because it wasn't that long ago that you were your daughter's age in a way, I mean.
Oh, yeah.
And you think about it, do you think that your parents are different with your daughter than they were with you?
I do in a way, because I will joke with people that I kind of raised myself. I had a dad that wasn't really there all the time. My mom was working really hard as a single mom to keep 3 girls clothed and fed and through school. And so I had a friend down the road, and she had a similar family situation where it was just kind of, we were each other's support in growing. And I think that my mom being more active with my daughter and present in the moment, because she's not under that pressure to provide for her, so she can give her that emotional support that maybe she couldn't get for me. But I understand now as an adult that there was a necessary evil in all of that, is that she had to support us in some sort of way.
Right.
Yeah, it's great that you can see that. Do you feel with that, do you feel like the fact that you guys, has it made you closer together, you and your mom?
Yes, and less afraid to call her out when she annoys me. So, because now I don't live under her roof.
That was the other thing I was thinking is do you guys communicate more now with how your relationship and your child and all that should work?
Yeah, we do, because I was such a rebel child. I definitely wore the black clothing. I guess I still kind of
do.
No, I take that back. I am still the same person I was 15 years ago. But I am definitely more open with my mom. I always thought, you just don't understand and you don't get me. And now when we talk as adults, as a fully functioning adult, I think, she understands a lot more. And it turns out a lot of the experiences I went through, she's also been through them, and we can relate more now than when I was younger.
So do you think that a program like this can help parents and grandparents and daughters and sons figure out how to talk together better?
I think it definitely could, and just kind of open up that wide spectrum of how each family communicates and get a different perspective that you can take from the show and maybe implement it into your own grandparenting practices or parenting. Even kids could listen to it and go, I wish my grandma would do that. And bring it up to her later.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing. That was really great.
Very
You did
welcome.
awesome. Go talk to the rest of the bunch to go out there and tell them to come in here.
Anybody
Who's
else?
next?
Okay.
Anybody
What else
else?
we got? Come on.
There's cake,
I know
sir.
everybody has great grandparent stories. We want you definitely, but I don't know if we wanted to save you for last or sit down right here. Sit down right here.
Sit.
That's my mother-in-law who
It's my mom.
who is
Mom.
precious
Mom.
in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sit down.
That was Lindsay.
That was Lindsay. That was a cousin.
Yeah.
On my mom's side. Our next guest is.
Our next guest.
Our next guest is. This is Ramona. I worked with her at Jinx. She was my teacher.
She
mentor.
has an educational background, so she's probably worked with lots of parents
Oh, yeah.
and grandparents.
Lots
Not your teacher.
Well, I meant not my teacher.
I'm
but
not that old.
I know. No. Not like that.
So what were you going to share as a grandparent or your grandparent's story?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
Because
Get a little
I've-
closer to the microphone, please. There you go.
There you go.
I was able to get to know all four of my grandparents and have wonderful memories, but we didn't have real personal relationships. They were great older people that we went to visit on some weekends.
Yeah.
I plan to be different. I have two grandbabies, a year-old and 10 months old, and I am going to be in their lives, very actively in their lives. I want them to recognize me and want to spend time with me like I want to spend time with them. And I think those interpersonal relationships is the most important. If it's later on when they're teenagers and I can be the next person after their parents if they
Right.
need somebody.
So where do you think that came from you? What made that want to grow?
I've been teaching for 35 years. And
But not Deanne.
No, not me.
I did teach her because
I did learn a lot from her.
Exactly, yeah.
I learned a lot
She was
from
my
her.
right-hand person. I learned that even in teaching children with developmental disabilities, if you put the relationship first, the rest of it will follow.
That's great. That's great
Better
advice.
behavior will follow. More exciting learning times will follow.
Right.
And I want that with my grandchildren.
I love that.
That interpersonal relationship so that they will always have someone.
So how do you communicate that to your children?
I tell them. They come over every Friday night. Both my daughters that have the babies, and we have friends that come over also, and we play.
Okay.
And you can ask them. I am on the floor. We were at a first birthday party today, and I was on the floor with the babies. They know who I am already. I'm
awesome.
already one of their safe people.
Yeah.
And
But
that's
you
where
always
it
had a pretty
starts.
good relationship with your daughters?
Yeah. Everybody.
It's okay to be honest.
I have a great adult relationship with my adult children.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
things have to change. You can't have the same relationship with your child all the way them growing
their
up
life,
because
right.
they change and you change. And so they're awesome young adults, and we have a great adult parent-child relationship.
Yeah, I've talked to my kids about that, and I tell them because my dad and I wouldn't have what I would consider a great relationship when we were younger, because he was more of the kind of guy that, as an example, there was one football game in high school that I thought I did like spectacular. I was so excited. I rushed for like over 200 yards, and I played both offense and defense, and I was so happy. And my dad went to every game I've ever played, my brother and I both.
Yeah.
And after the game, I went up to him and said, "Dad, did you see that game? Did you see how great I did? You know how many?" And he's like, "Yeah, you did really well, but in the third quarter, you let that guy beat you on that pass." It's like, what?
Right. And I think it's real important that as the adult, we have to show them how awesome they are.
Yeah.
Because our children are in a society now that mental health is not at the best place it could be.
But later, he and I became great friends. And that's one of the things I tell my children is that there's a point in your life when you as a parent are a parent. You try to give them every possible opportunity to be successful.
Yeah.
But then there's a point to where they're on their own. And you can become great friends and applaud them in their journey, but and that's hard for a parent sometimes. You got to let them go and do that stuff and not be a parent and be their friend.
Right.
But I do still tell my children, I am still the mama.
That's right.
I will always be the mama.
Right? Yeah.
But we can be friends after that.
That's true.
Because I don't think we ever equate with our parents. I would never be disrespectful to my mother,
Right.
where I might to my sibling. So we're not ever going to be best friends because I can't share everything with my mother because she's my mom.
Right.
And I guess being in the education system, you've probably seen all kinds of different parents, grandparents,
Relationships.
child relationships.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing more grandparents now raising their grandchildren.
Yeah.
So I'm
see that too.
seeing a lot of different, there's no common family structure anymore.
And it's not necessarily a neglect from the parents, it's that they have to work so much,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
the grandparents have a little bit more time because
Right.
they're more successful probably
Right.
in their...
My mother reminded me recently over Christmas that she was home every single day that we were at school, and she was there when we got home. And everyone from my generation, I don't know any stay-home moms anymore. I know 0 stay-home moms.
Yeah.
It's hard. You've got to work the 2 jobs for the family to
Right.
make
It's true.
ends meet.
That's right.
And you had a story from your grandparents?
Just that they were good people, and when we were there, we were important to them. But because of the rural environment that we grew up in,
Yeah.
they worked. They worked their land. They worked their farms. And I didn't feel important unless I was with them,
Right.
physically with them. And I think with the amazing communication we have these days, I will be able to let my grandchildren know I'm thinking about them, even if they're hundreds of miles away.
Right. That's cool.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
Now, you have to come up here because you have a different experience than grandparents, because you grew up. She's cleared her throat, got all set and ready.
And just a hint,
She worked on her hair and makeup too before.
I got lippy on.
Lippy. Nom, nom,
You
nom,
can see
nom,
that,
nom.
right?
This is Jan. I work with Jan at Jinx, and I learned a lot from her as well.
So Jan, get closer to the microphone. So you were born and raised not here, right?
In sunny England.
Sunny England.
Both my grandparents lived in London, and we would only see them maybe 2-3 times a year. And they're very much an institution. You go along, you were greeted very formally, and you sat very politely in your Sunday best, and tea would be brought, and you'd sit there and you'd use the sugar cubes, and you'd wow at all the pretty china, and you'd go home, and that would be it.
Really?
But the best part was the journey to Grandma and Grandpa's. Very rarely was Mum and Dad in the same car, except for a holiday. And you'd all be in the back seat of a tiny Mini Cooper, because that's what you had. And we'd all be sitting there. So in that respect, it was a bonding opportunity. But what I learned about, my grandfather and I can't remember any conversations with my grandfather, ever.
Yeah.
But I did learn that he was in World War I.
Wow.
And then he survived Auschwitz for some reason. He was put on a train and sent to a camp. And he was in there, and they dropped the gas canister down, and it didn't go off. And within days, they were all rescued. So I don't know the timing wise, but after that, he had awful bronchitis, and he couldn't get a job. But he became a London taxi driver, and then I would then meet him in London, and he would drive me around. And only by him being in the front seat of his taxi and me being in the back as a free paid customer would he share.
Oh, how?
So it's almost like that detachment. I'm your granddaughter. I'll share now, but I couldn't sit and talk to you.
Wow.
But,
Fascinating.
But it's very different.
And that's when you learned about his what he went through in World War
Right,
II.
and we'd heard the story. I mean, my dad had told it, and then I discovered my cousin who was from Australia, and he said, "Do you remember a story about Grandpa?" And I said, "Well, this is what I heard." He said, "I heard the same thing." So our stories collaborated. They were, he was the son of my dad's brother, and they just collaborated stories. So it was really interesting for that. But I can't remember. I remember smells, but their house was very dark. And we had sixpence in the Christmas pudding, and she would light it, and it would be lighting up the whole of London. There would be enough flame, enough brandy in that to keep going for a couple of days. But so as grandparents go, I really didn't have that much interaction with them, except for later years, like you were talking about with my dad, my grandpa as a taxi driver, and it's that backseat relationship, which is
that's
unusual.
So fascinating.
Yeah, about you? Are you a grandparent yet?
No, gosh, no. Not that I know of, as of last week, no. No, I have two boys, and I will be one day, and
Right.
one of them has a long-term girlfriend, and I'm looking forward to it. But
And what kind of grandparent do you want to be?
basically, I mean, from a parent's point of view, you can only be the parent that you... I mean, there's so many books in the library and bookshops. Parenting isn't easy, and that's why there are so many books. But if you parent from a book, then you're missing out on the whole experience itself. And so I believe you can only parent as best you can given what your own parents give you. And my mum was very, very much old standard English and very, very formal, and yet my husband is American. So I probably learned more about parenting from his side of the family as far as traditions, warmth, love, hugs, physical relationships, and laughter, whereas mine very... This is what needs to be done. Rules, boundaries, and procedures, and how one conducts oneself, or say, and that kind of thing. So self-control.
So really, there's probably really some good stuff in a balance between those two things as being
Vastly
a
different.
great-grandparent.
Vastly different, yeah. And I mean, and now, of course, I apply a lot of those parenting techniques to my own kids. And the small children that I work with, they, of course, respond to the accent. That's fine. But
That's right.
that self-discipline and those common goals that we want as parents for our kids, they are timeless, no matter what generation you want them to be. Healthy, happy, honest, disciplined, courteous. So many of the things that we want our kids to be.
Very good. Well, thank you. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
sharing.
Dan.
All right. So what'd you think? Were you surprised?
Yeah, I was very surprised.
Not
Yeah.
even a clue? Come on.
No,
No
not even a clue.
suspicions at all?
No, not really. No, no. I just thought it was going to be like I always tell you, I don't need a party, so I just thought it was going to be dinner, and that was fine.
Jordan, your middle daughter, that was kind of my partner in crime. And then all the rest of the kids participated in helping the final touches of everything.
They did a beautiful job.
And her and I were planning this. I've been thinking about it for a long time, and kind of set up. I would act
Made me
like
feel bad.
we'd kind of act like it wasn't that big a deal. You turning 50, especially this might be for another show. Right before my 50th birthday, she dumped me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that another time. But I wanted to make sure that your 50th was full of people who absolutely adored you and loved you, and then I was going to dump you afterwards.
Ha ha. Very funny.
But it's great because we had some of your friends, some you haven't seen in a while.
Right. It was nice.
And they shared some really great stories about being grandparents.
And just parents and having grandparents.
And all of our kids but one. I guess she was working or something when they will make it.
Her car was messed up.
Oh, okay. So. And then we had all of our grandkids here but one because she was with her other
family.
Side of the family. Yeah. And then we had our first overnight stay with
our
granddaughters.
granddaughter.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Which was kind of neat. So, which means that even after all this party and stuff, there's probably going to be. That'll be another show, you know.
Yeah, that'll be another
overnight.
show. Yeah.
Waking up in the middle of the night, feeding.
Advice.
Stuff like that. Yeah. So, and we'll seek out some of that to tell you about how to work best or things to look forward to. And so, and really, not even like throughout the night. See, because when you went and got your hair done earlier, I thought maybe you were doing that because you knew there was something going on later.
No, I had made the appointment a couple weeks ago and I got my hair cut. So I wanted to do something special for my birthday, so I got my hair done.
And plus, I've been teasing her because her coworkers threw a party for a week or so ago, and
which they invited him to, and he forgot.
I didn't forget. I never got the message.
I'm just teasing.
And then as the birthday kept coming up, but we've been talking about this birthday all year
I know,
long.
there's been a lot of build up. It's only January, so yeah, all year long. You're right.
No, and then we were talking about it last year because she was starting.
Okay, I was starting to think about ideas for my 50th, like parachuting.
Yeah, what she wanted to do, that ain't gonna happen. No. And then we talked about a Hawaii 5-0, but the budget didn't allow. Maybe next year the podcast takes off and we
maybe so. Hint, hint.
And then maybe. And she was talking about her fit. Then she was thinking I was mad because of that whole 50th history from my birthday because I'm a couple of years older than her.
He's a couple of years older than me.
And anyway,
9.
So then we were talking about that, and that came up several times throughout the year as we were approaching your 50th, and then when January did finally get here, and we talked about it, I kept teasing her. It's like, God, this birthday is going to go on all month long. It's
dragging on forever.
Yeah, how many more celebrations we have to have. And her and her daughter went out for a day out in Pahuska to go see the
Pioneer Woman, the mercantile.
Yeah, to go do all that. So it was a birthday to remember.
Extravaganza.
But it was a lot of fun, and we're going to probably let you go because it won't be long. That little one's going to start to perk up, and we got to do a feeding and do
change her, play with her,
burping, and all that good stuff that we will, cover. But this was a lot of fun starting off the podcast.
Yay! I'm so excited.
Be looking for us at beingrandparents.com for more episodes to come. And if you have any comments there, you'll be able to find a place where you could get in touch with us, send us emails or what have you, so that we can talk about maybe your grandparents, your thoughts of grandparenting, and other things that are going to come up along the way.
Maybe we'll get a Instagram or a, Twitter.
Yeah, we'll get all that stuff going. So thanks again for joining us.
Thanks for joining us.
Happy birthday!
Thanks, babe.